11th day of July 2023. Now, this is Lookuptv, and just in time for the bottom line. And remember, you can watch this bulletin live across all our social media platforms at Lookuptv on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Now, today, azimio leader Raila Odinga did hold a press briefing in regards to the signature collection drive. Now, today, Odinga says 1.2 million Kenyans have handed in their signatures in a bid to host President William Ruto from office. Now, how viable is that particular drive in getting President William Ruto out of office? A Kurio court, who was part of the team that drafted the Kenyan Constitution, says that particular drive is a waste of time. Now, tomorrow, Azimio One Kenya will hold yet another anti-government demonstrations after the Saba demonstrations held on Friday last week. Now, that is just one thing set to happen tomorrow. Now, tomorrow, again, the public service vehicles are set to have or to go on a nationwide strike to, of course, lament about the high cost of fuel prices. Now, one other thing that they were lamenting about, and that of course includes the Long Distance Drivers and Conductors Association, was the retesting that was of course set to be done by the Ministry of Transport in conjunction with the National Transport and Safety Authority, that was set to cost 1,050 per driver. Now, 1,847 drivers were supposed to undergo these retests. Now, today, the transport for CS Transport, that is Kipchumba Murkomen, has suspended that particular retesting program until the 1st of September 2023. This, of course, is in a bid to counter the strike that will begin tomorrow. It is not only the public transport, public service vehicles that are going on a nationwide strike tomorrow, but as well their taxi counterparts who are lamenting about the high fuel levies after the implementation of the Finance Act. Now, it is worth noting that the Finance Act implementation was suspended yesterday, again, by the conservatory orders were extended, and of course by Justice Mugure Thande. Now, Lady Justice Mugure Thande, of course, did forward the file to the Chief Justice, that is Martha Koome, to form a 3-judge bench to, of course, hear and determine that particular case. All those are some of the challenges that President Dr. William Ruto's administration is facing. Now, that and many more in our bulletin tonight. First of all, let's have a look at what's making headlines.
Tonight, Azimio is the ground running as it launches a digital signature collection platform to oust President Ruto. The strike is still on from Friday. Health unions dispute any ongoing negotiations with the Ministry of Health to avert looming strike. Interior CS Kithure Kindiki false Kilifi officers are present during the Shakahola deaths, saying they will face the law.
Now, welcome to the program tonight. I am Ian Keitani. We begin this bulletin with some politics, and ousted Jubilee Party Secretary General Jeremiah Kioni has come out guns blazing while accusing the political party's tribunal over its ruling that saw his expulsion as the Secretary General and that of David Murathe as the party's vice chairperson upheld. Kioni, who termed the ruling as biased, pointed an accusing finger at President William Ruto over the wrangles at the former ruling party.
The political parties tribunal yesterday ruled that Kanini Kega was the official Secretary General of the Jubilee Party, upholding the decision to suspend Jeremiah Kioni as the Secretary General and David Murathe as the Vice Chairperson of the party.
Madness by Ruto with being obsessed of destroying Jubilee and by extension the party that may have more people from Mount Kenya started way back in 2020.
Jeremiah Kioni has today taken a swipe at the tribunal over what he termed as an influenced ruling in upholding their ouster, insisting that the tribunal was biased towards the Kioni-led faction.
With me here, I have the judgment that will be delivered today at 2:30, this afternoon, already signed. And for the benefit of Kenyans, judgments signed are never available before they are delivered. This was delivered yesterday. The fact that those who are pushing a coup within Jubilee had already a judgment in their favor with them yesterday. You don't need to be told more of what is happening there. We also were aware of the judgment that was delivered yesterday the result was delivered to us by Akina Kanini Kega through their tweets over the weekend. So it is clear that within the system, they are the ones in charge of that process, and they are the ones pushing for the collapse of Jubilee.
Speaking during a press briefing held by the Azimio coalition in Nairobi, Kioni lamented at not receiving an official communication from the tribunal regarding the decision.
And it is a clear indication of their desire to kill multi-partyism in this country. We have done a letter to the tribunal, which will be delivered today, complaining about the availability of their judgments, and especially those by the majority, because the minority judgments are not available.
Kioni indicated that his faction heading to court to counter the tribunal's decision, hoping to regain the control of the party.
I want to say that whatever it is that we do, we have hope that the High Court will deal with the matter. We will move to the next level, that is the High Court, and we have faith that the High Court, like it has demonstrated, will deliver better judgment on this matter than before.
According to the ruling by the tribunal, the party is in the hands of the Kanini Kega-led faction, as the ousted Jeremiah Kioni-led faction heads to court. Ian Keitani, Lookuptv.
Now, moving forward, Azimio Brigade led by Raila Unveils have launched a digital signature collection dubbed the Citizens Initiative, which they say will work concurrently with the manual process to compel and remove from office President William Ruto and his deputy Rigathi Gachagua. The opposition leader has castigated the current regime over what he terms as attempts on his to assassinate him, use of excessive force by police on peaceful demonstrators, and government buying out legislators from other political factions to support its agenda.
The political scene in the country has today picked yet another momentum. Azimio One Kenya coalition leader Raila Odinga and his brigade have officially launched the digital signature collection process dubbed the Citizen Initiative, which they say will work concurrently with the manual process to remove from office President William Ruto and his deputy Rigathi Gachagua and compel the government to deliver to its citizens as per the law.
That this platform is now up and running, and any Kenyan, wherever they are, you can just go to www.tumechoka.com and you will be able to access it. Last week, we announced the launch of a program of collecting signatures for the purposes of taking back the powers we delegated to our leaders. The exercise, which is ongoing, is meant to express the people's displeasure with Ruto and the raft of punitive, unfair, and unjust taxes that he has decided to impose on the people without the people's consent. This is part of the campaign of resistance, the civil disobedience and citizens' actions that we have decided to pursue to force Ruto and his regime to respect and listen to the people.
Addressing the media while camping at the Wiper Party headquarters, Azimio believes the digital process launch will come in handy as it will aid in hitting the 15 million plus target under the Tumechoka Citizen Initiative.
The digital platform we have unveiled today will therefore run alongside manual or physical signature collection, and we urge Kenyans to feel free to choose between digital and manual platforms, whichever they are comfortable with. We take this early opportunity to thank the 1.2 million people who have signed so far. We appeal to more people to come out and append their signatures to this historic undertaking.
Raila reiterated that Kenyans are fed up with the stewardship of William Ruto. Hence, the process is meant to compel the government to listen to the pleas of its citizens.
We launched our citizens engagement forums that we started in Kamukunji last week will continue. And Kamukunji will not be confined to Nairobi. As the people demonstrated last week, Kamukunji will be everywhere and anywhere across the country where Kenyans gather in the name of justice and well-being.
Azimio has castigated the government for allegedly attempting to assassinate its flag bearer, use of excessive force towards peaceful and armed demonstrators by police, bribing of legislators belonging to other political factions, and has vehemently opposed the 2023 finance law, which continues to impoverish citizens further and now wants to be included in the process of hiring new IEBC officials, as well as opening of the 2022 presidential results IEBC servers. Raila now says the executive and legislative have turned a deaf ear on its citizens by acting like ostriches who have dipped their heads in the sand and left them on their own. However, the process of the removal of president from office is not a walk in the park. Constitutionally, a sitting president and his deputy elected under the one ticket can only be removed out of office either by the process of impeachment or incapacity. Stanley Lugaria, Lookuptv, Nairobi.
Thank you very much, Stanley Lugaria, for that particular story. On to matters health, and the Kenya Health Union Caucus has reiterated that a health workers' strike in the country is still on from Friday this week, following a disagreement with the national government and the Council of Governors, who failed to meet their demands in a 60 days notice. The union has accused the Kenya Kwanza government of not prioritizing health matters in the country as promised in their manifestos.
Solidarity forever, for the union makes us strong.
Today, we are here to reiterate that the strike that starts on Thursday midnight stands.
Public hospital services across the country will be paralyzed starting Friday this week after Union of Health Workers announced the start of their strike, highlighting that despite giving the government a 60-day notice, they have failed to meet their demands and hence they will be forced to close hospital doors.
Council of Governors, collectively as the 47 county governments and the Ministry of Health, have not been able to convene that platform where we can be able to agree on what needs to be done to resolve the disputes at hand. So it's very unfortunate that we have to inform Kenyans that from Friday, you will have to seek alternative.
Speaking during a media briefing in Nairobi, the union has expressed its disappointment in the national government, Ministry of Health, and the county government in failing to adhere to their demands, denying them salary increment, promotions, and forcing some to attend to their duties with no salaries at all.
Lazima ieleweke ya kwamba tunataka recognition ndio tukaweza kufanya kazi vizuri. Na sio tafadhali. Wacha tuwaambie sio tafadhali, atubembeleze serikali kutufanyia ile ambayo tunasema. Ni lazima, sababu sheria ya leba inatambua na inatilia mkazo mazingira safi ambayo mfanyikazi wa.
This comes as Kenyatta National Hospital is facing a doctor's strike warning, an issue that will result to a nationwide health disaster, with healthcare workers reiterating that their free services are no longer available.
Tunashangaa sana kuona baraza la magavana limeongozwa na magavana wakatili kabisa katika historia ya nchi hii, kwa sababu magavana zile kazi wanafanya, ile wizara ya afya ikisema inataka kuweka mkataba wa mwaka mmoja tu, magavana wanasema la, wanataka miaka 3 tena.
Meanwhile, the union has emphasized that this is not their will to interrupt healthcare services in the country, but the ignorance of the county government, the national government, and the Ministry of Health has led to their decision, and they're ready to go back once all the needs are met.
Vile Jesa amesema, sio sisi tunaenda strike, by the way, ni serikali inaenda mgomo. Sisi tuko hapa, atupedi migomo, by the way. Tunataka CBA yetu na tunataka recognition agreement. Ama namna gani? Punda amechoka na tuwezi kaa hapa tuseme unajua hata tukupewa kesho recognition na CBA. Sisi tunaenda pale tutibu watu. Sisi tufanya kazi.
Warren Kimani, Lookuptv.
Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever.
Solidarity forever, they say. That particular notice However, the strike by the health workers signals just one of the many challenges the President William Ruto has in hand. On that note, we take a short breather. We'll be back with more stories on this bulletin. Don't go away.
Usiwahi cheza na mboga yangu. Na unafuata nani? Usisikuone ukinifuata. Nimekwambia una shares kwa hii kuku. You got the roof, man.
Hebu kwanza rudi ndani ufresh hiyo choo na make sure umespray.
Juli, kwani wewe? Hii tumbo yako mimi najua inaweza ingiza kila kitu. Hata chuma nikishiaga nikupea hata plastic najua utakula. Kwani leo kunaendaje? Kuna kitu sielewi.
Kabisa Mluya. Yaani umeamua kulala uchi.
Sasa kama hakuna ile nguo inanitosha unataka nifanye aje?
Because you are fat.
Sasa ukiongelea mimi ati fat. Na Julie tutasemaje?
Hi, and welcome to Tujenge Home. Your number one show when it comes to all things architecture, real estate, property development, interior design. You get it right here on Tujenge Home. When the food is ready.
You want to serve them?
Dinner is served. Yeah. Let's go.
Welcome back and thank you very much for staying with us. On to matters, the Shakahola massacre, and Security Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki has cast aspersions on security operators and the judiciary for failing to prevent the Shakahola massacre that has so far claimed the lives of 360 Kenyans. Kindiki has told the Senate committee investigating the massacre that there was a massive lapse in security and breach of intelligence protocol exposing Kenyans to religious cultism and radicalization. And as a reporter Henry Tendenau files, Kindiki has once again reiterated that religious organizations must be regulated, even as he assured the nation that all those who killed Kenyans will be dealt with firmly.
With Kenyans still asking questions how the unfolding Shakahola massacre could have happened without the knowledge of the police and the intelligence agency, Security CS Kithure Kindiki says the two departments slept on the job, allowing a serious and unforgivable breach of security.
On behalf of the previous administration, where all these things began by virtue of what I have already stated here, and the current administration, I apologize to the people of Kenya that this should not have happened. This is the worst security breach that our country has ever experienced.
While detailing how different government agencies failed Kenyans, CS Kindiki says numerous reports of misconduct by Mackenzie and his co-accused were not acted upon by the police in unclear turn-off events.
This report, made by the directors of Jakama Ranch Limited, was very particular. I said, we are not talking about the herders who graze their cows and camels here. We suspect there are characters here who are doing suspicious things. And we are seeing people moving in, moving out, and the way the business is being conducted inside this forest, we fear that there could be some commission of crime happening. That was in 2020. No action was taken in 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023.
Kindiki also blaming the National Intelligence Service for failing to detect the security threat over such a long period of time.
There was no intelligence. Meant we are closing in the process of establishing why there was no intelligence. Reports were made by Kenyans, but there was no intelligence, I can confirm.
Not once, but on several occasions, Mackenzie was arraigned on serious criminal charges, but the judiciary released him. While underscoring the importance of the independence of the judiciary, CS Kindiki says it should take responsibility for failing to prevent Mackenzie and his team of criminals.
Why Mr. Mackenzie and his co-accused were not detained under the Prevention of Terrorism Act for which they had been charged.
The country is still waiting for prosecution of those involved in the massacre, and the CS has assured the nation all those who did the heinous act will be dealt with.
Every officer of whatever agency who has a role in this through action or inaction, conduct or misconduct, will be brought to justice without exception. And we are not going to look for junior people to hold accountable. We will hold everyone accountable.
On matters religious extremism, Kindiki says government is not going back on regulation of religious bodies.
This idea that somebody can wake up and preach anything, anywhere, anyhow, and do whatever they want simply because they are reading some scriptures will stop. But it will not be allowed.
Henry Tende, Lookuptv.
Thank you very much, Henry Tende. Now, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has clarified why the visit by Iranian President Ebrahim Raisi has been rescheduled to Wednesday. The Iranian head of government is set for an African tour that will also see him visit Kenya, Uganda and Zimbabwe. Initially, Raisi's schedule was to see him start his tour of Africa on Tuesday, which is today, but it has been delayed by a day.
Iranian President Ebrahim Raisi will kick off his Africa tour a day late on Wednesday, after it was rescheduled from Tuesday. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs clarified after the head of state missed on a joint press briefing that was to happen at State House, Nairobi. The 3-day trip will be the first by an Iranian president to Africa in 11 years. The schedule of the president has now been reviewed to allow for finalization of key memoranda of understanding that are central to the furtherance of relations. The Iranian president will now arrive tomorrow for the state visit, it is said, adding that the two leaders will hold bilateral talks at 7 a.m. in the morning on Wednesday, after Kenya's foreign ministry said in a statement. The rare visit to Kenya, Uganda and Zimbabwe marks the latest diplomatic efforts by the Islamic Republic to forge new alliances and ease the international isolation. A Ugandan official said Rai's trip to the East African countries will proceed as previously scheduled, with his 2-day visit due to begin on Wednesday. President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni and his Iranian counterpart will hold talks and address the media and a business forum during the visit. The visit is aimed at strengthening cooperation and trade between Iran and the East African country. According to the officials, Iran news agency, Raisi will lead a delegation that includes the foreign ministers as well as senior business people. He is also scheduled to meet Zimbabwean President Emmerson Mnangagwa. Kariuki Ndwati, Lookuptv, Nairobi.
Now, bishops under the Deliverance Church have criticized the azimio protest set for tomorrow. The clergy have further termed the demonstrations as a slippery road that could lead to political anarchy.
Speaking to the press during the Presidential Task Force on Church Regulation Forum, Bishop Mark Kariuki revealed that the Azimio protest set for Wednesday would lead to a slippery road that could lead to a political anarchy.
Mimi ningependa kuomba Wakenya tafadhali, maandamano haitasaidia. Kwenda barabarani hutapata chakula. Hata kama ulikuwa unafanya kibarua, siku hiyo hutapata kibarua. Kwa hivyo tuelewane. Na tena maandamano hayawasaidia Wakenya. Yatakuja kusaidia mtu mmoja. Ni mtu mmoja ama watu wawili ama watu tano ambao wanatafuta kusaidika kutokana na yale maandamano. Kwa hivyo ningependa kuwaomba vijana wetu, tuache kudanganywa. Tujue ya kwamba hata kama ni hao walikuwa katika serikali, uwaulize mtafanya nini? Hawana jambo ambalo wanaweza kusema, lakini sasa ni kusema ya kwamba tunataka tunawatetea. Hakuna kutetewa, unatetewa, ni kudanganywa, tunadanganywa.
Bishop Kariuki has called on business people to abstain from the planned demonstrations and focus on their business.
Kwa hivyo ukitaka afadhali ufanye kazi yako, upate kazi. Ni kweli maisha ya gharama ya maisha imepanda, mafuta yamepanda, kila kitu kimepanda, lakini kwenda barabarani hakutapunguza bei ya mafuta, kwa sababu hata hao wanaosema 20 wakiwepo, badala ya kupunguza wataongeza, kwa sababu kama pana kidonda hicho lazima kichokorwe ndio kitoke. Wakati kinachokorwa ama kinawekwa chumvi, huwa kinauma, unasikia uchungu, lakini baada ya ule uchungu patakuwa na uponyo. Kwa hivyo jambo mimi ningependa ni kusema ni kwamba hali ni ngumu sasa, lakini in the next 1 year or 2 years haitakuwa ngumu, kwa sababu kile kidonda kitakuwa kimechokorwa cha uchumi na mambo ya uponyo utaanza kuingia katika taifa letu.
Hadassa Crystal, Lookuptv.
Now, on to our feature tonight. And surrogacy is an alternative way for couples who can't bear children of their own to create a family. The procedure that involves a third party who bears the child on behalf of another woman has gained popularity in the current times, with a large number of women opting to become surrogates, either out of free will or for commercial benefits. The procedure still faces a lot of backlash, with many opposing the practice. We get to hear the story of Raila Unveils and her journey as a surrogate mother.
In many African communities, the beauty of being a woman is her ability to bear many children, and when she cannot do so, she is frowned upon. But how does surrogacy really come to the aid of such women or couples? Raila Unveils Kimemia is an attractive 30-year-old woman. She is the chief executive of a local interior design firm she founded 4 years ago. She doesn't fit the often perceived form of a surrogate, being out there for money. She tells a story of how she became a surrogate mother.
I got inspired by a family friend who didn't get a kid. Me, I'm a mother. I have a 9-year-old son, and it was a very close family friend, and she was very desperate, getting to age day by day, years passed on, and she's getting to almost 40 years old and above, and shouldn't get a kid. So when I came to Nakuru, I met the lady and she gave me her story. She has fertility issues and she's been struggling to get a baby. She has tried all procedures and she wouldn't get the baby.
In developed nations, surrogacy has been viewed as an option for couples who can't naturally have babies, and is now gradually gaining popularity in Kenya, with those who rent out their wombs known as surrogates and the owners of the baby known as commissioning couple. The procedure is undertaken to help couples who cannot conceive due to various complications.
So then the advantage that comes with surrogacy, to me, is the fact that at the end of it all, there's something I receive. Yeah, there's something I receive. So between me, my choices at 2019, I really wanted something that will give me proper cash, that will boost me, you see.
According to Dr. Justus Nondi, a consultant gynecologist at Nectar Facility Center in Nakuru, the very first surrogacy procedure was done in 2007, with the use of surrogate moms being on the rise in the country, despite the stigma surrounding the practice.
So surrogacy is basically renting a womb. You take the egg of a woman and the sperm of the spouse to this woman, you mix them, an embryo starts forming, and instead of bringing this embryo to the uterus of the woman who you are dealing with, because that uterus is either not there or there's something wrong with it, you take that embryo and implant on another different woman. I've had a situation like that twice. I've also had women offering to be surrogates, and They're quite a number. We are increasingly seeing them. I have about 5 women who would actually love to be surrogates.
Even as Ms. Kimemia opts to play surrogacy, she is alive to the fact that currently the laws and regulations regarding the procedures aren't very clear, and that can be a problem for both donors and surrogates.
I would want the law to address the risks that come along with the pregnancy. Let's say, for example, miscarriages. I might get pregnant and I miscarriage along the way. So what happens? Is the contract terminated? I might get an accident and maybe I lose the baby along the process of the accident. To me, I might get an infection like again through the accident. You might go and get blood mixed up or something.
Contract law provides that you cannot make a contract of a human being. You know, that's a void contract. So although on the sides this has been happening, the courts have been interpreting that just basically as an, you know, willing parties have come and agreed on something, but it's largely unregulated, which has a number of consequences. We've had instances where, for instance, the commissioning parent will approach a surrogate mother and they'll come to an agreement of one child, but you know, God blesses and then the surrogate mother gets multiple children, 2, 3, and you'll get the surrogate mother retaining 2 of the children and saying, no, we agreed on one child, so you take the one child, they retain the other 2 children. So it has been, and then when you go to enforce such a contract in court, largely very unregulated, very unfair for the commissioning parents.
In relationships, before you come and agree and you want to be, it might be my personal decision. I want to be a surrogate mom, but no, my partner doesn't agree. So it's up to us.
Even as the procedure faces a lot of controversy, for Kimemia, all she can do is wait for the opportunity to help a sister in distress. Juliet Chepkoech, Lookuptv.
Thank you very much, Juliet Chepkoech, for that insightful feature story. Now, moving forward, residents of Gachagua and Kambiju villages in Isiolo County have reason to smile after the Institution of Engineers of Kenya Northeastern Branch connected pipe water in the region to encourage crop farming. Now, the session engineer Gideon Nzioki lauded the community for their support in digging trenches and noted that the move will address the perennial food insecurity challenge.
As drought and food shortage continue to bite in the northern parts of the country, in Isiolo County, the situation is no different as locals are forced to go long distances to find water. Farming in the region has been a long-term dream, but now engineers in the area have teamed up to put a water pipe construction project which will encourage the residents of Isiolo to embark on crop farming as well as planting trees to conserve the environment.
Which is under Northeastern Branch, which covers Northeastern Branch brings 5 counties under its umbrella. That is Isiolo County, Marsabit County, Wajir County, Mandera County, and Garissa County. This is a community initiative that approached the IK branch, which is headquartered here in Isiolo, and we send a Chatu as our representative to come and do the survey to ascertain the need, the community need as it is. And in the spirit of the UN Sustainable Development Goals number 6, the provision for clean and safe water, sanitation and hygiene as a basic need for human well-being, we came up with a project under the AEK Northeastern Branch for Donate a Pipe. That meant to sensitize AEK members to bring up resources and donate the pipes so that we can complete the project that had been started by other development partners. That is the USAID, ActionAid, there is MIDP, there is VOCA, right? VOCA. Yeah, and ActionAid, which had done considerable work in drilling the borehole and equipping it with the solar system and the pumping system.
Under the umbrella, the Institute of Engineers of Kenya Northeast Branch, engineers led by the chairman Gideon Nzioki connected water pipes from Isiolo River to the villages of Kachewa and Kambi villages.
So in general, this has been a very collaborative effort, and as the local engineers within this community, we want to make sure that this will not be the first project we do, but it will be a start of something that will continue to build on more to support our community members. This is a call out to community members. I was told today that Kisima had stayed 11 years without them being able to use that water. So there's something the ward commissioner said in the morning, which is for you to be helped, you need to also help yourselves as community members.
Residents and farmers who also participated in digging drains have thanked the engineers and are positive that the project will ensure food security as farmers will have sufficient water supply.
At least wakulima wa pande hii watakuwa sasa wanaweza kulima kuanzia mahali walikuwa wameachia, na pia hii maji itapunguza ile madhara inaletwa na magonjwa juu ya ukosefu wa maji. Watu sasa watapata maji safi ya kukunywa, maji ya kutumia nyumbani na pia kwa ukulima wao.
Nushin Mungasia, Lookuptv.
Of course, crop cultivation and farming is the way for the country. Now, West Pokot leaders have urged the Ministry of Interior to speed up the process of employing a police reservist in the county to curb insecurity threat caused by bandits. Faith Bonareri with this and more in the county roundup.
Thank you so much, Madam Principal.
West Pokot Deputy County Governor Robert Komole and Sigor MP Peter Lochakapong have urged the Ministry of Interior and Coordination to speed up the process of employing police reservists in the county to curb the insecurity issues caused by bandits. This comes only 3 weeks after Interior CS Kithure Kindiki visited the county and promised the employment of the police reservists.
Peter, waziri wa usalama wa ndani Profesa Kindiki alikuja na akakuja sehemu mbili katika West Pokot hii pale Sarmach na tukaenda pia Chisegwa, na mambo ya NPR National Police Reserve alikubali kwamba ile ambayo ilipitishwa zaidi ya 200 tayari amekubali watakuja.
Aweze kutafuta namna ya kuharakisha yale mambo ya KPR ambayo yeye alikuwa amesema hapo awali.
Elsewhere, Samburu County Governor Lati Lelelit has reshuffled 2 county executive committee members and transferred 3 county directors as a way of ensuring effective governance in the county and increasing productivity in service delivery.
Sasa hii tuko na nafasi yenye itatoka ya directors, deputy directors through the public service. Tutaweza ku-announce hizo nafasi na muweze ku-apply na tutaendelea next week.
Finally, police have launched investigations after unknown thieves broke into the Kakamega Referral Hospital last night, making away with boxes of medicines. Confirming the incident, Kakamega Deputy Governor Ayub Savula issued a stern warning to doctors and staff who were stealing drugs from the hospital meant for the public.
The CCTV camera was stolen and the CPU, the desktop machine, they went away with it. It contains the record of the hospital. And we have informed the police and the police are investigating the matter, the DCI wing of the police. Medicine is supplied quarterly. The governor supplied medicine in all hospitals 3 months ago. It's almost expiring. We are putting in place a mechanism on how to fill the stocks because the medicine that are there are not enough to serve for the next 3 months.
Faith Bonareri, Lookuptv.
Guess it's time to get sporty now. After the arrival of the Hong Kong China Under-20 national rugby team on Sunday night, Uruguay national team for Under-20 has jetted in the country in preparation for the World Under-20 trophy. The Los Territories are in a group with the USA, Scotland and Zimbabwe. Their first test for the championship is taking down USA before facing Zimbabwe. According to the players and the technical bench, the boys had been preparing for the championship since January and they are ready to take up the challenge.
It was a hard travel. We left from home on Sunday. We go to Argentina, next to Brazil, and there to Ethiopia. and then we come here.
We are prepared for a good World Cup. We fought in the first match at this USA. That is our first objective. Our expectation to make the better in the play that we make. Now is to appoint to USA the first match.
Now, still on that particular tournament, Scotland under-20 rugby team also arrived in the country today as they prepare for the tournament to kick off on the Saturday the 15th of this month. The Thistle will start their campaign against the Bath's Cup champions Zimbabwe before tackling the United States of America. The under-20s rugby trophy will kick off from the 15th to the 30th of this month at the Nyayo National Stadium. Other teams that will be participating include host nation Kenya, Hong Kong, China, Samoa, and Spain.
It's a really exciting tournament for us. We've obviously had a tough Six Nations, but there was a lot to build on from it, and another opportunity now to get a good 4 games in and see where we can go from there. And obviously the goal is to win it. We've done everything we can to prepare for it, not left any stone unturned. So we've come here fully ready. So yeah, really exciting opportunity for us. I think expect us to get better. Like we're a young squad. The squad that's out here, there's a lot of players that are going to be playing next year. So that will help definitely for next year, having players with experience from a whole year of under-20s.
We've been training really hard over the last 4 or 5 weeks, and the boys are ready to go and play in the tournament. One of our biggest goals is to really embrace the culture of Kenya, not only enjoy the rugby but also to embrace the cultural opportunities that playing in a tournament like this also provides. So yeah, boys are really excited about being here and looking forward to playing some good rugby.
Well, that particular story of the World Rugby Under-20 Trophy Championship wraps up our bulletin tonight. Thank you very much for joining us. And of course, we will be coming to you again tomorrow. And just so you know, there's a crisis. Well, just so you know, I was turning a year old today. And let's say happy birthday, Ian Keitani. Thank you very much for your wishes on this particular day. It is a special day for me, and I've been here for the past 1 year, and safe to say that this is my second home. My mom says it's not really your second home because you spend most of the time there. So still, this is my first and second home. Thank you very much for everybody who made this a success. May God bless you. To the team behind the scenes, Orondo, Josh, Sean, Nancy Nalima, Branamoy, and Ian, thank you very much. Just so you know, despite today being my birthday, tomorrow is a difficult task for us all as a nation, as we'll be having the azimio anti-government demonstrations, and tomorrow might be the day when we say a working nation, or a working nation, if you'd love. Well, that particular note, do have yourself a lovely night, and like always, God bless. The same way you might be working tomorrow to work is the same way I'll walk out. Adios.